What is up, YouTube? It's CantStopRalph here, and let me start off by saying it is a good time to be watching the NBA. So much has happened in the past year, with all the duels rising, and Golden State being broken up, and the power of balance just shifting. You now have multiple teams that can win the title, compared to before when we already knew who was going to win. I can stay here talking about all these great changes that have happened this past year, but this video is about the GOAT, Carmelo Anthony, making his debut with the Portland Trailblazers. So I know everybody right now is spamming the chat saying, Ralph, you're crazy and on drugs. Melo is washed and terrible. But before you all chew my head off and give me a dislike, hear me out. Melo is a 24 plus point career scorer and a future Hall of Famer, so he is no bum. He has even won a scoring title, so we know he can get buckets. Granted, he's not what he once was, but because of his age and how the NBA has changed throughout the year, he still has stuff to offer. He can be a solid scorer that can give you about 15 points a night, which is better than a lot of these NBA players. Like, let's be honest, Caldwell Pope scored 1 point in 2 games of playing in the beginning of the season with the Lakers. I'm confused to why is that man still in the league getting paid $8 million? So now that we have spoken about offense, everyone right now is spamming, but Ralph, Melo can't play defense. He's like Isaiah Thomas. They target him and try to attack him. In that regard, you are right. The man is going into his 17th season. Of course he's no Kawhi Leonard, but let's be honest. Besides about 20 players in the league, who really plays defense? Nobody's trying to get hurt. These are athletes that are getting paid millions of dollars. Although we look up to them and they are genuine people, at the end of the day, the NBA is a business. So they have to look out for what's best in their interest. So back to Carmelo Anthony in Portland. I can honestly say, I feel like this move can work. The Trailblazers do not look like what we expected them to look, especially making it to the conference finals last year. But that's mainly because of the injuries and some key role players they lost with Amino and Heartless. We all know that bad man Damian Lillard needs help. We all know he can ball and drop 30 any given night, but let's be honest. Besides CJ McCollum, who is a very good player, who does the Trailblazers have? Who's the next scorer? Rodney Hood? Okay, I'm not saying Rodney Hood is a bad player. He is a good role player and can have some good nights. But you can't just tell him, here's the ball, go get buckets and create. That's where Melo comes in. He can be a streaky shooter, but if you have him playing against the other team's bench, that man will get you buckets. So someone right now is probably spamming the comments saying, no, you're wrong. Carmelo is done. He went 4 for 14 in his debut. Okay, you're not wrong. But you have to remember, he has not played in the NBA for more than a year. In athlete years, that's like 3 years. No matter how much he trains and practices, it is not going to be the same as playing an NBA game against the most elite basketball players in the world, as well as all the emotions that must have been going through his head, being called 3 days prior to come back to the league. And just imagine having that large crowd watching your every move. Even though he did look a bit rusty, which I'm sure will wear off with time, I did like some of the things I saw. first, he did look like he could move pretty well and was in pretty decent shape. He did knock down a few threes, which is key because that's probably going to be his main role. Being able to spread the floor, because CJ and Dame will definitely get that man open, and him making shots will allow CJ and Dame to work. I'm sure Melo will get a few isolated plays here and there, which will work towards for his benefit. Anyway, Carmelo being there isn't a solution to the Portland Trailblazers problem, because what they need is Nurkic and Collins to come back, because they have no other big man besides Whiteside. But Melo being there will help the team. If Melo being there doesn't work out, they can always drop him without paying him, and they can even pick up someone else. So if you think about it, it's a low risk, high reward for the Trailblazers. We all seen how Dwight's comeback and even Derrick Rose when we all thought they were washed. Sometimes being kicked down is the best motivation we need to come back, and all we need is a chance to prove it. We all know Melo isn't a star anymore, but with time, I'm sure he'll show that he has something to offer to the league. Melo loves the game, and sometimes it's hard to turn our back on the things we love. So, let's just relish this moment and be glad that this top 20 all-time scorer is still in the league. So, if you enjoyed the video, like, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe. This was something different I wanted to try out, since the Melo news is something that has recently been released, and I wanted to share my opinion on what I think about Melo and the Trailblazers. I would also like to hear your opinions as well, so leave it in the comment and any feedbacks you may have. Enjoy the rest of the video. For everyone out there, even the Carmelo Anthony haters, live, love, laugh, and stay mellow.